those hydrogens?
Yeah, yeah. You want a hydrogen
baby?
tablet?
Come on.
These are H2
Hook it
tabs.
up. I love these. I'm addicted.
I love these too. Yeah.
Explain to people what these are instead of...
Hydrogen gas, I mean, this is probably my favorite biohack in the world because it'll cost you about $1 a day. These are called H2 tab. You can get them at drinkhh2tab.com. You can actually read the science on it. I think there's two people in the world now. I mean, those that have read the science and take hydrogen gas, drink hydrogen water, and those that don't, or just haven't read the science. Because hydrogen gas, first of all, it's the lightest element in the universe. It's also the most prevalent element in the universe. 10% of your body weight is hydrogen. I think, in fact, if you took hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen, that's 96% of your mass. Okay, those four elements. So hydrogen's about 10% of your body weight. And hydrogen is not just an antioxidant. It's a selective antioxidant. Right, so if you look at oxidative stressors like nitric oxide or superoxide or hydrogen peroxide, okay, so all of these oxidative stressors, they can be good in certain amounts. Like you need a certain amount of nitric oxide, right, in your body, but too much nitric oxide is bad. Too much hydrogen peroxide bad. Too much superoxide is bad. So if you were to take an antioxidant like vitamin C, and take very, very high doses of antioxidants, this can be very bad for you because you're suppressing too much oxidation in the body. You're actually suppressing these oxidative stressors too much. Hydrogen, on the other hand, uses the body's homeostatic process to suppress inflammation. So in other words, it works through something called the NRF2 pathway. It affects a protein called NRF2, which moves into the DNA, binds to the DNA, and then the DNA spits out the instructions for catalase, superoxide dismutase, and glutathione. So in other words, you're actually using the body's regulatory system to actually control inflammation instead of externally trying to control inflammation. And the second thing it does is it targets the only oxidative free radical that I think all of the science points to as which is hydroxyl radical, having no use in the body. So it selectively targets that and regulates the rest of the inflammatory process by using the body's homeostasis. So I guess a very long-winded way of saying that hydrogen gas can go anywhere in the body. It reduces inflammation, improves circulation, improves memory. There's a really interesting study published on the Journal of Experimental Gerontology, and it was published in November of 2021. And most these clinical research studies, they'll look at younger populations, like healthier younger populations. But this actually looked at a 6-month study on hydrogen water versus non-hydrogen water in 70-year-old and older folks. And they used something called TET2 to measure methylation. They measured cognitive function, sleep scores, sit-stand ratios, how well they're able to sit and stand, telomere lengths in their chromosomes. And the really fascinating thing about this study is it was done during COVID. So these seniors were basically imprisoned, right? So they were not mobile, and the only difference between the groups that they controlled for was the presence of hydrogen water. At the end of this 6-month period during the lockdown, the control group had lost 11% in their telomeres. The non-control group had gained 4%. They had better short-term recall, better cognitive scores, better circulation, improvement in cardiac markers, improvement in inflammatory markers like C-reactive protein. I think it's the greatest biohack on earth. That and like some sea salt and some amino acids, like a perfect amino. I mean, just covering your bases. I think those are your foundational basics for optimal health.
And it's like delicious. Comes
Dude,
in
it's so
good flavors and it's easy to drink. It's like a pain-free thing that you can do.
You know, you can bathe in it too. You can actually
Really?
bathe in hydrogen gas.
How many tabs do you put in the water?
You can actually put what's called a hydrogen bomb, which just looks like a big bath bomb. It just creates hydrogen gas. It's elemental magnesium.
What does it do for you when you bathe in it?
It goes right transdermal, goes right through the skin. So remember, hydrogen is the smallest, lightest element that we know of. Right, so it will go right transdermal, and these hydrogen gas will form in between water molecules. So a water molecule is H2O, but hydrogen gas can actually exist outside of the water molecule. And when you put excess hydrogen gas into the water, it will go right transdermal. And I have 2 of these baths at my house. I never talk about it like on social media, so I guess I'm about to talk about it now. But I have literally put people into these tubs. I'm kidding you not, crippled with arthritis, and they will skip out of my unit like they won the lottery. It's incredible. I mean,
so transdermal reduction of inflammation in joints from these hydrogen bombs.
Mm-hmm.
How long does it last?
Or from a hydrogen bath. You can get these. You can get these machines. I mean, one for your house is about $7,500, $8,000. They make some that make nanoparticles or nanobubbles, which are about 1/500th the diameter of a human pore. So if you run these things on your face, it'll actually push all the sebum out of your skin. It'll get rid of dandruff, psoriasis, eczema. If you have any kind of inflammatory condition like knees, hips, shoulder, rotator cuff, arthritis, low back, bathing in hydrogen gas can be one of the most therapeutic things that you do.
Really? Can you add it to a cold plunge?
You can add it to a cold plunge. And what's interesting about adding it to a cold, in fact, I use this Cold Life cold plunge, and I've got these guys trying to see if we can incorporate the hydrogen gas into the cold plunge. So where the motor pulls the cold water out, it's going to send it into a hydrogen generator and then push it back into the tub, because as the temperature drops in water, you can saturate more gas. So a 48-degree, quote me exactly on this, but a 48-degree cold plunge will hold about twice as much gas as a 102-degree, warm tub. So if you were like just taking like a warm bath.
Right.
So you're going to be cold plunging for 3 to 6 minutes every day, or, that's what you and I do. You might as well be in there with hydrogen gas. And so I'm working with these guys from Cold Life to see if we can plumb these hydrogen generators. And basically it creates the hydrogen gas by taking distilled water and breaking distilled water apart and then throwing the gas into the water. And it is noticeably different when you bathe in this gas or not. Like I had Sean Ryan over to my house for a podcast one time, and he's all banged up from being a Navy SEAL, and he's got nips and bibbles all over his body, and he just thought it was really weird because I was like, dude, you got to get in my bathtub. He's talked about it before. Sean, big shout out, brother. But he's like, dude, I just met you, man. And I was like, I go, no, it's okay. I'm not going to get in there with you. All right. I'll sit on the chair outside the tub. He's like, that freaks me out a little bit. I'm going to be honest with you. I said, dude, I gave him a pair of shorts. So, cause I was like, does anything on your body hurt? Did your knees, your hips, your shoulders, does anything hurt? And he's like, dude, fucking everything in my body hurts. So I was like, get in there, man. And, I put him in there for 25 minutes. He said it was like the first time he had slept 8 hours and woken up without pain in probably 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah. John Jones, same thing. John Jones has been very public about working with me. I've been talking to him in a little while, but right before his last fight, I brought him one of these hydrogen machines to bathe in, and we just set up the tub at his house. And we ran hydrogen gas into the tub. So we would do red light therapy. He would drink hydrogen water, and he would bathe in this hydrogen gas. And it was about 15 or 20 days after I kind of parachuted into his camp and set all this up that he texted me. He was like, "Holy shit, brother! I can't believe I'm out of pain. I'm adding a 6th day to my training routine.
Wow.
I'm waking up not in pain. I'm sleeping better." So it's really incredible what hydrogen gas can do in the body, and don't take my word for it. I mean, there